The Todd Shapiro Show, Canada Laughs, SiriusXM 168.
Do we have Bruce Linton on the on the phone right now?
Yeah, the nearly late Bruce Linton, that's me.
How are you, Bruce?
I'm awesome. How are you today, Todd?
Well, it's funny. So I'm a little under the weather because we had our friend Pedro is a big part of the show here. He does all the filming for the program, and he came in a little studio last week, and he was sick and coughing and sneezing everywhere. And we had asked him not to go, but he loved his job so much that he wouldn't leave. And I thought that was rude of him. And now I got it.
Man, when I ask how you're doing, it's really not a question, eh?
Yeah, you're just supposed to be like, "Hey, dude," and then move on. I know.
It's just being polite.
Yeah.
But if you really want to know how I'm doing, because I'm actually feeling quite elated, and it has to do with you and your company.
Excellent news.
So I signed up yesterday. I'm not a consumer of the products, but I signed up yesterday at Tweed Main Street, and I had my appointment with the doctor, and the people over there were phenomenal with me, and they helped. It just was it was really such an easy process, and I think that's an important thing for people to know. It wasn't a pain in the butt, and I qualify to consume, and I think I'll be a vapor. We're going to figure that out to help with my anxiety a little bit.
Great. Well, hey, listen, man, it's good you put it out there, too. Like, a lot of people have a lot of questions, and I get them all the time one-on-one, but I think we're knocking down way more by talking about it here.
Yeah, and I even I posted yesterday. I went on Twitter and Facebook, and I talked about it. I said I was proud. I was proud to say, because 2018, I want to work on some things on myself, and one of them is like chilling out a bit. And I keep hearing about the CBDs and stuff, and CBD. Yeah, you know me. I'm pretty sure it's.
I say that all the time.
Do you?
That's the oil, right?
Yeah. That's Jean Paul you hear in the background. So anyway, I'm really excited to go through the process.
Yeah. So what are you looking for, 18? You want to be able to just slow down a bit more when you're home, or what are you looking at? To
be honest, I'm a bit of a nut. So, yeah, I just want to kind of chill out. I don't want to be as anxious. I'm a very anxious guy, and I shouldn't be because I got a lot of good things going on in my life. And it's just like kind of live in the moment more, really.
I was just about to say that. You need to live in the moment. Sometimes your brain
I get ahead of myself.
Moves faster than you want it to be, and you're just kind of like, hey, somebody cut the brake lines, and you just kind of want to be like, all right, cool, let's slow it down and appreciate, look around and see what I got and smile and enjoy what you got. So that's just me.
If my friends are listening in on this, they're going to be like, Bruce.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people probably wouldn't maybe assume that. I've gotten to know you a little bit off air too, and you're just a super kind of fun, outgoing guy, and I think that's what a lot of people thinking about me. And then sometimes you go, well, maybe they're in my case anyway, I'm going all the time, it's nonstop. So it's like that's what I want to help with. And then I find out you got a product called Bodie McBoatface, and how cool is that? So I'm all in. I'm sorry.
That's one of those names that you thought that it was just perfect timing when it was all going down in the UK. Who'd have thought that it just kept coming back as a favorite name?
It's the greatest name, man. I don't know. So and that's CBD. So that's going to be, I think, my first order. Now, you guys over at Canopy, man, you are not stopping. This has been another huge week for you. I can only imagine how tough it is for you. Sort of really never to have that second to live in the moment. There's always something going on. What's the report this week?
So yesterday was kind of a nice day or interesting day in that we announced in the morning that we have a facility in Quebec near Mirabel that is about 700,000 square feet of greenhouse, and we have a structure to convert it into cannabis production. And the nice part is the municipality is supportive, so we had their positive response. The people running the business really did need and want to look for a new line of business where they could actually make a more sustainable, positive growth business. And so that was great, and it, I think, puts us in a neat spot for Quebec. And then a little later in the day, there was a press release in Denmark where a number of public political officials did a press conference to announce that Spectrum, which is our medical brand, is now being granted a license subject to a number of terms in Denmark to produce cannabis. And that's the first time we've had the right to produce in Europe. And it's in a greenhouse that's about 400,000 square feet. And it's kind of a nice story because the greenhouse had a business, and then it turned out to be not a business, and they were going bankrupt. And so we acquired it, and now we'll hire a whole bunch of people, both those who work there and a number of new people, and kind of create medicine and jobs and good stuff in Denmark.
Yeah, I don't think that's just kind of a nice story. It's a great story, dude. And we've seen you do that sort of with the Smiths Falls and help that community there, with Tweed being a big part of it, and then the former Hershey factory. So let me get this straight though. In Quebec, they were growing tomatoes, pink tomatoes, and now purple buds. Right? That's the deal. Yeah. Sounds like a great.
Sorry, is there a chance for a hybrid?
Organic. Yeah, hybrid would be great. You think basil's popular with them, but it really what it does is. It allows us to use a couple of things. One of the areas they have, they organically grow some tomatoes. And so our intent is to take that certification and skill set and the materials and turn it into an organic production facility, obviously, for our stuff. But, this is a multi-generational business that the reason they're still in business is they've always looked ahead, looked for new things. They have a really neat retail market on the property. But tomato production in Canada is pretty hit and miss. Some years it works and some years it doesn't. And so this probably gives them a pretty good opportunity at a bright future.
Yeah, and I mean, just again, also just about innovating, moving forward and stuff. And it's kind of the day and age. And, it's funny because we always have this caller who calls in from Florida who he fooled us for like a few months because he always talked about how he's a tomato farmer, but he was really just growing his own stuff. So apparently not too dissimilar in the process.
Yeah, no, but
less hockey sticks though.
Yeah, these are the sorts of things though that as Canada keeps changing, evolving. You get questions about, well, where will our tomatoes come from? Well, these guys are actually building another building to do tomatoes because they can take a new version that's just suited for tomatoes, create that, and have this other business in the other buildings that are great for what we're going to grow. And so I love these things because it kind of allows everybody a chance to move it up a notch. And I think they're probably more excited about this than they've been about tomatoes for the last 10 or 12 years. So this kind of rejuvenate everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big conversation starter at a party, right? The tomato grower.
With the inverted quotes.
What's funny is I go for breakfast with these guys, and often when you go for breakfast, they'll put a slice of tomato on the plate, and some of them get nuts. They're like, that's a California growing piece of crap tomato. I'm like, okay, we're at my favorite breakfast joint. Take it easy on the waitress. She doesn't know where the tomato came from, but these guys get all nuts.
Protect the product. That's interesting. Will people start to look at weed that way one day, where it's like homegrown, Canadian, made in? Like that's. I never even thought about that. Well, that must be a very important thing.
Well, I think it's going to happen. Like we announced a week or so ago that we're going to build a facility in Newfoundland. The number of people who are from Newfoundland and had to move away, if we can actually create a bunch of jobs and some really cool brands and grow it all on the rock, I think you're going to start to find there is regionalized demand for certain brands and production. It's going to evolve, but that's kind of a lot of sort of an interesting way for it to happen.
What's going on in the States right now? I mean, are they just keeping their ear to the ground, figuring out what's going on here? And is the federal government ever going to budge at all over there?
What's going on down there is great for us and a mess. So it is federally illegal to grow cannabis. In the federal level, I would say that cannabis, cocaine, and heroin are generally treated about the same at a federal level.
Wow.
State by state, they choose to do some combination of things, and they're all very different. Each state has different rules for what you can do, how you can do it, what you can sell, what you can't sell. So it's a real patchwork. And the effect of that is it allows us to keep focused up here internationally where we're not encountering U.S. companies of any size or activity. And I'm not sure that this is going to change much in the U.S. Because the longer it goes on, Colorado, for example, has a booming state business where there are probably 1,000 small growers, hundreds of stores, all kinds of small boutique things. If they make a national program where it's federally legal, that will probably cut out all, if not all, the production that would occur in Colorado and move it to bigger, plains like in Ohio or something. And so I think there's a lot of states saying, you know what, maybe this kind of mix mash thing is pretty good because it keeps a lot of stuff local.
Nice. It's 4:20 and 39 seconds. And I had a question for you. It might be twofold. One, how excited are you for the future with all that's been going on with the legislation or delegislation of the laws, as well as it being such a serious business? How are you guys going to, for want of a better word, keep it light?
So it is pretty unbelievable how much is happening, how quickly. And so Canada, second half of 2018, the number of people who want to know about this product means they want to try it, and they want to try it from a lawful source on a trusted basis. So that means they're going to have to buy it. And so I think that the back half of 2018 is going to be just super busy in Canada. But what's happening around the rest of the world is they're taking the Canadian rules and implementing the medical system. And so, like when I mentioned Denmark, that's not going to be the only European country a year from now that has production, I suspect, going on. And the probability that if you're really good at it in Canada, that you could actually do it really well there if you had the ambition, pretty good. And if you do a nice job in a little town like Smith Falls or Yorkton or Fredericton or all these spots that needed jobs, when you look around Europe, in every country, there's areas that need employment. And so I suspect we'll be probably 2 or 3 years from now more active in other countries than we are in Canada, and we'll be really active here.
It's interesting, just the activity part of it. This day and age, everything's so fast paced, and I've been like having some fun day trading cryptocurrencies, and I'm all over the place, and we're getting so sort of isolated with our phones, and we're looking at our computers, and people are kind of, you're living in like condos that are 200 square feet. It's like the Matrix essentially, and you can just control everything with that thing that's just not attached to you. And the ironic part about all of it is, that's happening at a time where there's a plant that's been available to all of us, which should have been, and it's almost like it was necessary to be legal now. I had this sort of deep talk with a friend, Bruce, about to create a balance back to me wanting to live in the moment.
It's like being in the Matrix,
but without marijuana. Like I just think it's a very important thing, and that's why I'm really excited to go down this journey to help me, and just to help me relax and focus and get control of myself. And I won't do it. I don't take like big pharma stuff. I don't take chemicals. That's just not my style. I get migraines. I don't even take an Advil. So I'm stoked by that. And I mean it like on a deeper level. It's almost perfectly timed. So congrats again.
Well, thank you. My only worry for 2018 is if you're still the same and on air in the same way, man, I might have a whole bunch of people saying, well, if it couldn't help him, God, how could it help me? way out there.
Listen, dude, at the end of the day, my wife's hoping that more than anybody, okay? So
I'm sure. Anyhow, have a great holiday, guys. Thanks very much.
Merry Christmas, Bruce.
Happy holidays.
Bruce Linton, the CEO of Canopy Growth Corp. What an absolute beauty.
The Todd Shapiro Show, Canada Laughs, SiriusXM 168.